Hey, everybody, this is JJ.
And I'm Natalie.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver. Now, before we get started, I know we had just left off on JJ's story, but before we get back into JJ's juicy story for part two, we've got to remind our friends about the sisterhood membership. So this is super important.
Very important, y'all. It's free. And what do I say? When it's free, it's for me. The membership is absolutely free. It's like a sale every day. And girls, we love a good sale, don't we?
Don't you know it, girl? It's all about what you save, not what you pay.
All right, here's the deal. We're partnering with our care partners to save you money. So go to confessionsofareluctantcaregiver.com to sign up, then tell all your friends about it. They can join too.
Oh, I love it. And as always, you know what we say, we are not selling your information because we hate that too. All right. So now let's get back into the juicy part of your story, guys. Thanks so much for being patient with us because, well, it's going to take a while to get here. So you have to understand where we've been to know where we're going. And so on the last episode, I feel like this is like the before and after. So picture it. We've grew up. Our dad passed in 2011. Our mom has been living independently, like living her best life, coordinating care on her own. She really is independent, and we are long distance caregivers. Okay. Our mom has an issue, the crisis point, and it happens to every caregiver. You have a crisis point that pushes you into the next part of your caregiving journey. And it's unexpected. And honestly, we want to tell you the story so that you can plan for it yourself. So JJ gets a call in 2019. She calls me 911. It's like, holy cow, like Timmy's in the well. And so our mom has had a massive psychotic break from a bad mix of her medication. Thank you, healthcare system. And we have taken her we had to have her placed into a facility. She stayed there 2.5 months, was able to get stable. That was a huge blessing. Guys, God is the thread for us. We're all about blessings, and we are led exactly where we're supposed to be led. So Emily and I, of course, JJ and I thumb wrestled on, is mom going to be in North Carolina or is she going to be in Virginia with me?
I won.
JJ clearly won because I didn't put up a fight. I didn't put up a fight on that one, people. Right. So mom gets moved into Brookdale, and that's at a assisted living facility. And this is the first time anyone in our family had been in an assisted living facility. So this was new to all of us. And we're thinking, oh, this is great. They've got activities. She's got 3 hots and a cot. She's got some snacks. This is going to be great. Right, Jay?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, then I pretty much cracked.
Oh, no.
That's where we were at the end of session 1.
Yeah.
No, I really did. I absolutely just broke. And you know what we said was it was detrimental to my relationship.
Yep.
It was detrimental to my health. It was detrimental to my employment, which was my own business. I was falling apart. I was crying all the time. I had gained weight. Mentally, I was a basket case.
Yes, I can attest. I can attest you were a basket case.
I mean, I could cry at the drop of a hat. I was like, and I had some strong resources, some people I could lean on. Of course, you guys. So that's unquestionable. I just could not get any peace. And one of the reasons was all I did was feel guilty. I mean, first of all, I wasn't doing it right. Like, God, there's got to be a better way. Why am I doing this wrong? And there were thoughts like, I should bring, like, mom was constant. If I just lived with you.
I was getting ready to say, mom was working you. Like mom knows.
Oh, yeah.
So JJ is, I mean, I don't want to say that you're weak, but when it comes to mom, because of their relationship and how thick as thieves they are, mom was like, if I could just come live with you, JJ, if I could come live with you. Mom needed assistance with hygiene and bathing and all kinds of things.
It was 24 hours a day.
It was really a need. So not skilled nursing, but mom needed attention. And so it's the reason
I could never have worked, done minute. I mean,
No.
there was no way.
No.
I could not have stayed. Like I would never have been able to stay.
But she worked you, JJ. If I could just live with you.
Yeah.
She was so
JJ.
like, it was like she was being punished to be in.
Oh, yeah.
But this was great. Like I went over there. The food was awesome.
Oh my God. I was checking myself in. What are you talking about? I was playing every damn game you could find.
Yeah. So, but I was guilty all the time. Every time I went in, the people, they were all mean to her and everything. I was like,
The food was terrible.
I would question myself, like, are they mean to her? Are they being mean to her? Like it was all I did was question myself. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? I should get up earlier and take her to church. I should take her out more frequently. I should go with them when they go get ice cream. I should do this. So all I did was question myself. I was the worst person in the world. I was the worst daughter because it was my responsibility, guys. That's how I felt.
You were the oldest. So, I mean, that is you're the oldest.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where I felt.
Mhm.
Every time I had a pretty big problem, again, there was Aunt Jane. Aunt Jane and Uncle Richard, who were like, she's like superwoman. And so I would call Aunt Jane. Aunt Jane, mom would call her and be like, I'm having this problem, I'm having this problem, I'm having this problem. She was the backup contact with the facility. So if they couldn't get me, they couldn't get you guys, they would call Aunt Jane. And so then she'd call me and be like, they're calling. And they said this. And I'd be like, I'll call them. And mom would call her and complain. And then Aunt Jane would be like, your mom's saying this. I was like, that's not true. So,
but ultimately what happened? Because we were failing. We weren't failing. Mom was not thriving in the assisted living facility. So then what happened?
So I wasn't thriving. And so I called one day and I was outside our business. I couldn't even go in. I was like, we hadn't opened yet. And I sat there and I was on the phone with Aunt Jane. And I can like remember this vividly. Like I was like, I'm gonna lose it. And Aunt Jane said, this is very emotional. I can't believe it. It's been years ago.
Okay.
And she said, Aunt Jane, she said, bring her home. And that was 5 hours away. That was back to Tennessee. And she said, we're all here. And while they're all like in their 70s, her sisters and her brothers, she said, you can't do this. I was like, what? She said, you can't do this alone, and I won't let you destroy yourself. I was like, that woman's crazy. And then I was like, wait a minute. She just gave me permission. Like I think she just saved my life. And but those words, like, bring her home. And I was just like, I never imagined that would be like, I never imagined like anyone would ever like give that. It was like a gift, guys. Like, I'm like, holy God, this woman has like, I can't even express to you, like, she will never know. And I've told her, but I don't think she'll ever know like what she gave me. And so we started looking at facilities there, and it was
a very small list considering
it was a small town.
Like, oh, look, here's one right near, where we grew up. So look at it, it works perfect. Grace of God.
Everything
in our budget.
is really expensive. I know, laugh about this, but something happened. I called because Jane knew, our family knew such and such who knew such and such. And so we got, there was a little room that had been changed because they needed a little extra space in the back of the kitchen for a closet. So they had made it a little bit smaller than all the other rooms. And it was like $500 less. I was like, yes. And it was available. And I was like, that's in my budget because I do the finances for Mom. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true. And I was like, we'll take it. So we took it. And we moved her at right the week after New Year's of 2020.
But don't there's a piece that's really important because when we looked at it, or when you went to move mom in, there was something that made us know that it was absolutely the right place.
So well, now that was the other place. That was the Brookdale.
Mom's room number at the facility, was it not
That
44?
was at Brookdale.
So that was okay. So that was at Brookdale. So
Yeah, that
mom
was
had
at Brookdale.
44 at Brookdale.
That was
Our
our
dad's
first one.
softball number is 44. 44 is a special number to us.
Yeah.
Because was our dad's number. Okay.
Which so we moved her in.
Okay.
And then
What happened?
And then COVID happened.
Oh, that's right.
And then that was 2020. And then COVID happened. And so while initially she was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this place. That was January and February of 2020.
Yeah.
And I was doing my best. We were all doing our best. Aunt Jane was taking her food.
All the sisters were coming over.
Things.
Church members.
Everybody was visiting.
Everybody's happy to see Connie.
Oh my gosh. She knew some people there at the facility.
Oh my God. So and so knows so and so.
Oh,
that's how we are in our community. We're like, that's so and so's grandson, or that's so and so's.
It was fantastic. So anyway, so then COVID hit, and my confession is that to a certain extent, maybe COVID for us, that eliminated some of my guilt because they shut it down, and everybody knows that everything was shut down. And they shut it down early. So there were no visitors, nobody was inside, nothing. And there was no reason for me to drive in. There were no doctor's appointments. Everybody knows that the world shut down.
That's right.
That meant that I was shut down from Connie, and I could call Connie, that's mom. And she struggled. That was a terribly hard time. And it was a hard time for everybody, but not being able to get out. But it eliminated some of my guilt because there was nothing I could do about it. And I wasn't responsible for it. It was this plague that came out. So that's kind of what happened there. So that first year of her time there until COVID really passed,
eased up.
It eased up.
I'm like, I don't even know that COVID's passed. We're just getting better. But that first year after it eased up, when they started allowing people to come see people.
Yeah. So, and there was more limits and stuff, but we still we couldn't visit because we couldn't visit. They wouldn't let us.
Right.
So, and my Aunt Jane, her, people there, they dropped off stuff for her. They let, little packages sometimes go in. So they did that. I could mail her things from Amazon. And and that was okay. So that was 2020, 21. We kind of made our way through everything. We got back into some aggression issues. All of those initial issues were still there. We were chasing medicine. It was all still there. And it came back. And so we knew that was always going to be a problem. I mean, you guys know that. It's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
There was a medicine out there that's a pump called the do-over pump, which is kind of a last stage medicine for Parkinson's patients. And I call it something like a do-over insulin pump, where it's automatically it's placed in her side, and then it automatically gives her the dopamine. We'd always wanted to do that. She was afraid of it, but we couldn't have that done in assisted living because they didn't have an RN on staff 24 hours a day. We looked into that again, can't do it. And that was ultimately our goal, but still just couldn't have it done. So we were still chasing pills. We had some blessings there. We had some great, the head of nursing there. But again, mom was just complaining all the time. She was unhappy. If I could just go live with somebody.
Insert guilt. If I could live, even she made friends, and she was plotting with her friends their escape.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Our mom is quite the organizer.
She is, and she, the people there, she's quite a socialite though. And she did there were times when there were glimmers of hope. And I will share this because I think it's
roomy cute.
It really is special to me. So she did meet someone, and he was an older gentleman.
That's right.
And they became really good friends. And she would always say to me when she told me about Bill, that, so she would say, there's nothing romantic And I was like, Mom, that's
It was like she was
fine.
cheating on dad. There's
I
nothing
know.
romantic.
I mean, but
Don't
there's
worry.
nothing romantic, Jay. But their bond and their friendship was really special. They would sit on the porch together. When I went to see her that one time, this is Bill. I was like, okay, Mom, it's like a date. And so that was really nice. And that gave her, there was something there about that companionship.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was fantastic. And during that time, now she was going to move out with Bill. There was nothing romantic. They had a plan. They had an escape plan. Now,
It was an
in the
escape
80s.
route.
It was an escape route. They were going. I was like, Mom, you nor Bill can function on your own. Okay. I mean, you guys cannot, you'll both need care. And but after they bought each other Christmas presents, he got her a sweater. And I think she got him like a nice pair of pants. I mean, I had to order those.
Oh, interject. I think she got him a Keurig, or he got her a Keurig.
Oh, was that what it was? Well, he got her.
Remember that?
He got her a sweater too. So
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
but this was the hard part for Mom. Whether it was the other facility or this facility, our mom had just turned 65, 66. And so when this happened, all of this stuff happened. She was the youngest person in any of the facilities. Like
Yeah.
everybody else is in their 70s, 80s, 90s. And that's where every one of the facilities consistently said, we're concerned that this place is, there's too many older people. And Mom used to complain, there are too many old people here. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, look,
I'm not
their
old.
parents. Yeah. So that was always a hard thing for her too. So just
Yeah.
as a sidebar. So
Yeah.
Bill was like, I think 10 years older than her.
Bill was in his 80s.
Oh, so Bill, she was really,
But
Bill
had
was
been-
Robin. He liked
Yeah,
some
Bill
young
was
ladies.
Bill had been in the education field. He'd been married for many years. So
Mhm.
so nice, so sweet. But then Bill passed away.
Oh, that was hard. Mom, that
And
was
that
terrible
was just
for Mom.
devastating. And I think that
Yeah.
was another thing that really, like, she struggled through that. I feel guilty. And so that, I look at it and you just have to have a heart for it because of that. You're just
Yeah.
like, can we not win? Like, could Bill not have lived to be 100? Please,
Yeah.
Lord, help me out. So, but the aggression issues, things like that just continue to happen. And so
She does have a bit of a
I'm gonna
snakish
go back. I do
tongue.
need to pop back to the facility in
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
That's right.
So I did forget this one detail, and that was I was breaking, but one of the issues I was breaking is that they had pretty much kindly asked us to find another facility.
This isn't the right best fit for your mom anymore.
That was really nice.
That's my favorite terms. This
This
isn't
isn't
the
the
right
best fit.
milieu for your
It was like
mom.
a bad breakup.
It was.
Yeah.
It was like, it's not you, it's us. And we're like,
us.
no, it's really us. I'm pretty
Us.
sure when our mom's
Yeah.
chasing people for meds.
So-
So, okay.
And it was just not a good fit. They
Well, and
said
they
she might be-
they helped us get us into that Tennessee facility.
Well, yeah, everybody did. They're very helpful. So that was number one. So then
we didn't withhold information, people.
No.
We just
So
knew how to work the system.
in Tennessee, Bill had passed away. This is our second facility.
That's
And
right.
this is this year. This is 2022. No,
Oh my
it was
God.
2022.
So last year. So this was March, April. And so that's not that facility. They had recommended that they were not the good fit for Mom.
Another bad breakup.
Here's the deal. People
It's
get
not
angry with us
you,
when we
it's-
laugh, but here's the deal. We have been kicked out of 2 facilities, folks. And Mom, she was like, I don't understand why we're moving. And I have yet to really tell her. I did tell her finally. in
No,
Walmart.
we
She
did
was like,
tell
I
her.
don't, I was like, Mom, she was like, I don't want to leave. I was like, Mom, we're going to move to another facility. And she was on me like white on rice. She was like, I don't want to move. I don't want to move. And I finally broke. Y'all remember this because I was really mad. I was like, Mom, we have been kicked out. She was like,
Was that the Walmart trip when we were
that was the
getting
Walmart
sheets?
trip when I was getting her new
Yes.
stuff for the new place. I was like, Mom, we have been kicked out. She goes, well, why did we move out of the one in North Carolina? And I was like, because we were kicked out. And if we get kicked out again, we're going to have to go to a nursing home. She was like, you're lying. And I was like, I'm not lying.
Wait. Hold on. You're breaking out.
You're breaking
I'm
up
sorry.
again.
I was like, she just did not believe me. I was like, Mom, you cannot be mean to people. They will not keep us. I felt like I was like teaching somebody like in the second grade, like you have to play fair and be nice.
So, okay. So we are getting kicked out.
Okay. So we're kicked out.
Okay.
So we were nice to leave. We are asked to leave. They were great. They were very kind to us. So kicked out. We were asked. But they were really nice and they helped us find another facility. This is where one of the biggest issues is that we want to talk to people about. If you have not planned, you will not be able to find a facility that you can afford if you have seriously not planned. And we were blessed with the first two that we were able to find places we could afford. We exhausted those blessings basically. And when it came time to find the third one, it wasn't there. And so we started searching for programs, and we came across a program that in the state of Tennessee that we had to do a spend down of mom's income that would then make us part of a program where we would get assistance to put her in the third facility.
And it allows her to qualify for Medicaid. So let's just make sure that we're clear. It is a Tennessee specific program where because she made too much money for Medicaid, but there is a loophole that Tennessee allows for people to be able to do. And and that loophole assigns money back, and it's meant to reimburse the state. So it's very similar to when individuals who are on Medicaid and you have to do the spend down. So
exactly. And most states have it. So it's a loophole, and those loopholes are out there everywhere. You just got to find stuff, guys.
That's right.
People that don't know, you got to ask. And that's the big problem that we found with everything is if you don't ask the right question, you won't get an answer. And that's the trick with everything in the healthcare system, and especially in the caregiving system.
Correct.
So we found a facility, and it just started all over again. So I'm not sure what we expected, that something would be different, but it was the meds. This facility even had an older population. And she also had to have a roommate with this facility because of the program.
Well, because she's on Medicaid.
Yeah.
She's on Medicaid.
So,
you're always going to have a roommate.
Yeah. So her roommate had dementia. Mom is still a smart cookie, and she's still very cognizant of everything. And so that was just beyond irritating. And because of our sweet roommate, she was borrowing mom's candy and food. And so
she didn't understand that, mom was her roommate. And she didn't understand it.
She would end up in mom's closet taking her stuff. Mm-hmm. And that finally was like the last straw. And so mom tossed a cold cup of coffee.
Wait a second. No, let me explain this. We get the call from the nurse that says there's been an incident. And we're like, well, what happened? Because it's either me or JJ who typically gets the calls from the nurses. And we were like, what happened? Well, your mother threw coffee at her roommate. What? And we said, I'm sorry, what? And she says, yes, your mother threw coffee. And we're like, OMFG. And so then I can't remember which one of us got to mom first. I know when I talked to her, it was like, Mom, what happened? Because you don't yell. You're not going to yell at our mom. So, Mom, what happens? And so what did she say to you, Jay? What was her justification that it wasn't as bad?
She said, well, it was not hot. It was cold coffee.
It was just cold coffee.
And then she said, I told her I was sorry. So they asked us, they said they didn't think that was the right location for her.
Yeah.
So 3 strikes were out because there was nowhere else in that area.
And this was in June. So this is important.
We've been there 3 months.
We've been there 3 months. And this is in June of 2022. And I'm in New York with Jason. And we'll talk about that in another episode with me. So JJ and Emily are trying to figure out, along with me, because I'm on the phone with them, but they're the lead on this, are trying to figure out,
well, and
what are we going to do? Oh, well, and don't forget the third, the Holy Trinity. We always like to say WWJD. There's Jesus, Joel, who we love, Joel Osteen, and Aunt Jane. And then, so we do love the WWJD. What would they do? And so we make a lot of our decision making based on the 3 J's. It seems appropriate. So, Jay, Then what happened, because you and Emily had a really great idea, and I was like, this sounds terrible. Go and say it.
Emily found it in her heart. She is a saint.
Yeah,
Emily said,
look at your halo. I
Emily
can see it.
said that she felt that she could be mom's full-time caregiver.
And what did I say?
No,
No,
Don't do
turn
it.
around, don't drown. That's what I said. Turn around, don't drown.
so that is how we got to Connie and Emily as roommates, and Emily as the full-time caregiver. And Emily's real caregiving story begins.
Oh, it's so painful.
And I moved to Florida.
So JJ was like, I think I'll move farther away.
No, we did Key West. Yeah.
What's when I laugh?
Let's interject for a second, because our options were she was going to need a higher level of care.
Right.
So it was skilled nursing, or
Skilled
one
nursing.
of us were going to have to step in. And of course, all that guilt started oozing all over us. Natalie was totally cool with it. Let's find a facility. JJ was the worst. She, walked around like Eeyore. The world's going to end if mom goes into
That is fact.
skilled nursing.
She sure
And I'm
did.
like, okay, I need to pray about this and see where we're going to go next. And that's when we made that, you really prayed about it and made that next decision that Connie and I are going to become roommates.
And I just kept saying, turn around, don't drown. I just don't
Absolutely.
understand. Like, you're driving the car into the water and you're thinking, this is going to be great. So it's totally fine. It's just a puddle. So in August of 2022, we did not tell mom. So this is our grandmother in us.
This was great.
This is so good. This is our grandmother. Growing up, it was always, don't tell your mother.
Don't tell your mother.
If we go to McDonald's and she would get us food, this is why we were chunky little kids when we were growing up, because she would feed us, because our parents worked. We stayed with our grandparents after school, and then until we got older. But we grew up with our grandparents because mom and dad had to work. They were young, is what happened. And so she would feed us McDonald's, and then we'd go home and eat a whole nother meal. I mean, we've got really super healthy eating habits. And so, but she would always say, anything, don't tell your mother. So I mean, we don't lie to mom. We just don't fully disclose the full truth until the full truth needs to be disclosed.
Well, and that was the funny part, was that I flew in a day early because we knew that we needed to get the lease signed.
Yep.
And we knew that we needed to get her stuff. Like, we needed some new stuff for this apartment. We needed stuff. And Emily and I would never get it done. So I flew in a day early and had to lie and say I was coming to visit the next day.
We didn't tell her at all.
And we didn't tell
And
her.
even the facility. Now, there's the thing. I work in treatment facilities, and it's always notorious for someone to tell somebody something's going on, because if any of the staff hear, they're just going to go say it. I hate to say this, but they wanted her gone so bad, not a single person broke the news to her. That's how badly. They're all like, we know this is important, so we're not going to tell your mom. And we're like, thank you.
And the reason was, it was important to say this. The reason was she would want out of there so bad that she'd be like, you have to come and get me today. I have to be gone. We're like,
I'm having
Mom,
a crisis.
we won't be able to get anything done. And so we were like, she
Yeah.
has to stay just one more day.
One more day.
Yes.
And so that was the reason. So that is.
So
and then begins August the 1st.
August 1st,
2022.
And so here we are. It's like, we're recording this. It's December 18th. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pretty sure Emily's story between August 1st and December 18th needs to be a two-parter, because here's your teaser. Emily gives notice like 45 days in, and JJ and I are like, holy crap, you can't give notice. We've got a year lease. And then our mom fires Emily twice so far. And so I'm talking about, you can't make this up, people. So I'm gonna end us here. I'm gonna make this one a little bit shorter, because this is a part 2. And I'm gonna tell you, Jay, I love that you
I am so
so much
appreciative because
of
I know it wasn't
yourself.
supposed to be 2 parts, but it is our story. Our mom's story is really, it's important to share.
You got to
that
understand it.
You got to understand it. You got to understand family dynamics, and family is messy. There are times, there are funny times when I think we've all had thoughts about, killing, somebody.
Oh, I'm
Just kidding.
sorry. Daily.
Just-
Oh, no.
just
Why are you
killing.
kidding? We've all,
Yeah, just
here's the thing about confessions is we've all had those moments where you're like, if I just killed her, is jail worse?
Or
And you're
she
like,
voluntarily wants
if
to
she-
jump off North Dam. Come on,
If she
girl.
were to accidentally step into traffic, would I go to hell for hoping that?
Yeah.
But
No,
and this
you
is
know,
the
we
thing.
said-
It's like we joke about it, but our mom is our relationship with our mom is complicated. It's challenging. And in her frustration, she just wants to be independent. Her mind works and her body doesn't coincide, doesn't cooperate. And so that's where I think, Jay, it's so hard for her. And she is, again, the will is strong in her.
Yeah. What is that they say? The Jedi is
it she has the force is strong.
is strong.
Force is strong.
Well,
Her force
and I
is
think
strong.
it's important no matter what we say. I think it's hard because her mind is still good.
Yeah.
And we're mad. I mean, she's
Yeah.
mad because
She is mad, and she should
she's
be.
mad because, and she has I would be mad.
Yeah.
I mean, at 48, I mean, like I said, I'm 49. I would be
Yeah.
mad too.
I would be mad.
And it's something, and you just have to, we all say that you got to accept what God hands to you. But sometimes you're like, Lord, why'd you do this for me? It's maybe it's more than I can handle, but it's not. But I just, and I hope everybody says that, we pray for your mom. We'll pray for your mom because it's about getting it. I have to give her grace. And we talk about grace a lot. And we laugh because in my worst of times with her, I'm like, this is it. I'm putting her out on the side of the road and praying somebody picks her up. But I remember our dad, dad always said, what's that?
The fourth J. I knew
The
you were
fourth
going
J,
there.
Jimmy. I remember dad always said, when we were having the hardest time, he would say to me, he would say to all of us when she was off the rocker,
Yeah.
when after she had the Parkinson's, he would just say, girls, or he would say, Jay, just be patient.
Yep.
Just be patient. And those, like, every time I'm like, I hear his voice and I hear that. And, of all the things he could say to me, he's just like, be patient.
Yeah.
On top of, did you tithe on your unemployment?
Dad did say that, didn't he? He's
Pastor Tony, Dad made me tithe on my unemployment when I
we
lost
love
my
you, Pastor
job.
Tony. We
Just
love you.
for that, my $27.50. But he also says, he says that, and that's what I hear.
Yeah.
And that is hard.
Yeah.
Just be patient. So
here's the part of, and as you guys listen, because I know this is going to be the first podcast that drops. And so the way that our format is we ourselves will talk about our caregiving journey. And then we go into sister questions, which I love. So we are going to do 2 sister questions because JJ doesn't get to ask herself because that's funny. But we are going to have 2 sister questions and then we will kind of close it up. That's how the format of our podcast go. So,
oh my gosh.
JJ, are you ready for some sister
I'm
questions?
so nervous.
Oh, you
Guys
should be
ask
because
me.
we're totally going to get you.
Oh
Emily,
my gosh.
do you want to start first?
Yes, my favorite part.
Yes.
JJ, what was a funny moment or a you can't make this stuff up moment with
Oh my
mom?
gosh. I
Yes.
have to think about that.
And there's so
Because
many, I know. To pick one is a big deal.
So this is kind of funny for me. So Dexter has always had, like, he's always been like, he doesn't understand Parkinson's. Like, sometimes mom's on and sometimes she's off. And it can be like, it can be like within like a minute, like if her medicine kicks in. So when we were taking her after her psychotic break, when we were taking her to Florida to have her committed, which is, was terrible, we had to stop in Atlanta to get the new power of attorney signed like we had to have it notarized at a UPS store. It was a Sunday afternoon. And so we get her in. I've got to help her. She's got her cane. She is off. And I'm thinking, I hope they don't think that this woman is drinking. I need this power of attorney signed so that they're going to let me check her in.
That's right.
At the hospital in Florida. So Dexter helps me get her in. Dexter's the witness. I've got my ID. The guy at UPS, he's like, this has $8 or whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I'm paying him. And Dexter, he walks Mom back out. And I walk outside and she has her cane. And this is a cane, yes. And she is flipping it up in the air and twirling it like it's a baton, like she is a majorette. And that's what like her sisters and everybody did. And he turns around and he looks at me like, what the? Like mortified, because not only is she doing it, first of all, but he was like, she's doing it really good. Like she's on TV, like she's twirling and everything. And we get her in the car and he's like, what is she fake? I don't understand. I'm like, Dex, I can't really explain it to you. But when I walked out, I swear to you, I thought she was like at a parade at Neyland Stadium because she was twirling this cane. And
she was the band leader.
It was like, she looked like she was like leading a parade at Neyland Stadium. So that was one of my like, I can't even make Dexter believe. He was like, I don't know, Jay, when she's faking it or if she's faking it. And I was like, I promise you, she's just back on. Like 5 minutes later, I couldn't get her in. And then 5 minutes later, she's twirling her cane like it's a baton. So
well, and for our listeners who are not from Tennessee and know that the mecca of the universe is clearly the University of Tennessee, Neyland Stadium is where the UT Volunteers play football.
Yeah.
So, and both of our aunts, actually, Jane and June, twins, by the way, and Joan were all majorettes.
Yeah.
And so it totally makes sense that, and they all went to the University of Tennessee and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So let me go ahead and get my next question so that we can.
Ready. Then we're done.
Okay. And then, so we always, in confessions, we always ask about what is your guilty pleasure?
Okay. This is like embarrassing, but I will share it because, and we laugh about it. Like when I'm down or it doesn't matter. It's always food, y'all. It is no doubt food. And if I'm having like a good day, a bad day, whatever day, I can conceivably consume like 5 to 10 Little Debbie oatmeal cakes.
Great.
I mean, it's a Little Debbie and I can hide the wrapper. Like, I don't want anybody to find about, okay, I'm a sneaky eater. That's what I call it. And I can honestly, like, to try and get them in so nobody sees it, I can hide them in my bra. Like, I'm like, I got to get these to the, I got to get them
more
to
than
like
a guilty pleasure. I think our listeners are going to think that you've got a small eating problem.
Like,
so, but
yes, I do. That's the truth. But I mean, I'm like, I'm like, when I'm stressed, I like, if I could get my hands on like a Swiss roll or a Little Debbie, and however I've got to illegally, whatever I got to do to hide the evidence, I'm okay with that. Like, I'll do whatever it takes.
My goodness.
It would be like, it's a game. It is eating them and not getting caught. That's my guilty pleasure. So maybe it's, I don't know, it's the two thing.
It is two thing. What has been the one thing that's kept you sane? What do you do to keep yourself sane and not get lost? Because you were a puddle in North Carolina. How do you not get lost? And and not even sane, how do you keep the shame and guilt away?
I know. So the shame and guilt is something that I have to learn to live with. It's there. And when it comes, guys, I have to stand there and face it. Like, it's almost, for me, it's like I call it a monster. It really is. And it's something that I visualize. I look at, it's like a dark shadow, sadly. It's kind of like I look at it and I'm just like, not today. I actually say, not today, Satan, not today. Because it is Satan to me. And it takes a lot. Like I talked to you guys, like I have to find a source people that give me strength. I got to find my tribe. I got to find my people. And so that's you guys. But also my source is God. Like, I journal. Like, that's a big source for me, is journaling it down in the morning. I have to keep my faith early in the morning and write it down. But I also know that guilt and that shame, that I look at it. I have to face it head on my strongest days and say, not today, Satan, not today.
So it sounds like the way that you keep it at bay, and this is something that you'll always work on, because I already know that Emily and I do not have the guilt and shame that JJ does. And there's so much there that, honestly, to unpack with a seasoned therapist. But the reality is that, we are a support to one another. I know that for me, the way that I stay sane, because we have a constant text thread that we have that honestly could be a book, because it's hilarious. There's between the memes that you can't make this up and your mother is doing this. We love to refer, when mom makes us upset, we will typically refer to her as your mother. Like, she's not ours anymore. We don't claim her, or Connie.
She's your mother.
And so she's your mother, or Connie's gotten on her broom, and be warned, or 911 don't answer the phone. There's all kinds of things that we've done to help kind of have self-preservation, because if you don't acknowledge that you need that, then you're going to lose yourself and you're going to get sick. You're going to lose it. And you're going to say things you wish you hadn't said. And because we always feel guilt.
I've done that.
Yeah. We've all said things that have been like, well, I probably shouldn't have said that. But you know what? When you don't address it and you don't get it out, get that anxiety and stress out. So I think those are great takeaways for our listeners, because I think journaling, I know you love to listen to music. I love you know you love reading the Bible. Emily loves to send out our devotionals for the day. I always get so much blessing from that. And so I think the more that you use those skills, those coping skills, which I hate to call them that, but they are the skills that keep you sane, the better you'll be. So Jay, thanks so much.
So my big thing is thank everybody for listening, because I know that everybody's got a story, and I hope that everybody find someone to share their story with, because everybody's story is different. But find someone that you think it's safe to share it with, because it's important to share it. Because if you hold it in, it is like just what you said, Nat.
It's a cancer.
It can make you sick. It is a cancer. It's a cancer, just like any disease. And let it out. It's not bad.
You're not a bad person.
Yeah. Just share it. Because if you can't, sometimes you just gotta laugh about it. At the time when I had to, tie Mom down in the back of my car because she was getting out in Atlanta that day, I was terrified. But now I look back on it and I can laugh, because you're just like, I can't make this up. No, so just share your story and learn from it. Because if you don't learn something from it, and when you share it, you're teaching somebody else.
All you're doing is giving somebody else courage to let them know they can get through too. Right. Exactly. So, you know what, Em, as we wrap up again.
Yes, Emily.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to make sure that we don't forget to tell our friends to go to the website and check out the Sisterhood membership, because what's good about the membership?
People, it is free.
Oh,
and free is always for me and for you.
I love it. And you know what? Like I said in the last episode, we know resources are tight right now. We know interest rates are high, and so is inflation. And Lord knows we are praying for it to come down. So this is a great way to be able to stretch your dollar, because every dollar counts. Never take that for granted. And so whether you are a caregiver, you have been a caregiver, or will be a caregiver, just know you are never alone, and you will always be part of the sisterhood. Guys, thanks so much for coming in and listening today and taking time to share and hear our journey. Don't forget, we drop new episodes every Tuesday on the Whole Care Network or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And of course, you really want to watch this on YouTube or on our website, because it's the video. And so the video is fantastic. So definitely make sure you can go to our website, confessionsofareluctantcaregiver.com. Guys, we'll see you next Tuesday when we come back again to confess. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.